India's digital money leap, empiricism and ideology. I'm G. Ramachandran, Ramach to my friends and to my associates. And today is a Sunday, April 30, 2017. And in a couple of hours, the Prime Minister's Man Ki Baat, MKB, would be on radio and on television. My email, indiagrow@gmail.com, and my Twitter @ramachgramach. Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrote a standout strategy, demonetisation, on November 8, 2016. This has won the Prime Minister and the government many admirers. This has also won both many critiques. We will discuss the criticism and the pessimism of Nobel laureate and economist Amartya Sen and Mr. Martin Wolf, the chief economics commentator at the Financial Times. We will also discuss the statement of Ms. Indra Nooyi, the chair and CEO of PepsiCo, for this statement provides a simple and direct description of India's retail economy. Dr. Sen and Mr. Wolf had adopted a robust behavioral strategy in their desire to bet against and win against a significant person. Their game and strategy are useful, and let's learn about this, in situations where someone doesn't know much about something and the probability of she or he being right is low, but the payoffs to him or her are very high, huge and humongous when she or he is right. So, if you need to win against a significant person and you don't know much about what the person's game is, you also know that the probability of you winning is low, but the payoffs is very high, you will attack the person in a way that you can't get destroyed even if you lose. Dr. Sen and Mr. Wolf would never waste their time wanting to win against someone insignificant, say a farmer who sows with the expectations of rain. They won't become heroes and darlings if the farmer loses her or his seed capital. Dr. Sen and Mr. Wolf would have become heroes if the Indian economy had collapsed as a result of DeMo, demonetisation. They would have not become zeros had DeMo succeeded, which it has. And we're still talking about Dr. Sen and Mr. Martin Wolf. They haven't become zeros. And who remembers what they had said? We will today, though. They were holding put options. Put options put you into the money if the value of an asset drops, and you lose nothing if the value of the asset is retained. Moreover, Dr. Sen and Mr. Wolf have very safe purchase. Harvard University and the Financial Times, and are safely insulated, and they're very safely insulated. Was DeMo a risky game? Yes. And the risk of gain was significantly bigger than the risk of loss. The event owner, and we know who it is, had better knowledge of the distribution of the risk of gain from DeMo and the risk of loss from DeMo than the two put holders. The two put holders are Dr. Sen and Mr. Wolf. The event owner knew that the distribution of the old rupees 500 and rupees 1000 currency notes was wholly skewed. The distribution of these currency notes was not uniform across the economy, nor was it proportionate to the underlying economic activity, which means even if you knock out 85% of the circulation of money in the economy will not collapse by 85% because the holding of these banned notes was wholly skewed. A few people held most of these old 500 and 1000 rupee notes. Dr. Sen and Mr. Wolf had to bet against Prime Minister Modi and or DeMo for they had no clue about the distribution of the old 500 and 1000 currency notes. Ignorance does not cause inactivity. Notice that. They had their own views, they had their own audience, despite their ignorance. Yet they had to rely on ideology and safe purchase because they were deficient in the context of the empirical distribution of the old currency notes. Dr. Sen described DeMo as despotic, therefore, and likened it to Napoleon's Russian campaign. That's history. Dr. Sen had nothing empirical. The weight of theory, history, and ideology was obvious when Dr. Sen chose to trash DeMo and Prime Minister Modi. Mr. Wolf was soft as Wolfram sheep. Mr. Wolf had that 50-50 view, for he was hedging. He was ambiguous, perfectly ambiguous. Should one regard it as a decisive action in India's war against tax evasion, the black economy, and pervasive corruption? Mr. Wolf asked in his nicely written piece in the Financial Times, India's bold experiment. Or should one regard it as a damagingly arbitrary act by an illiberal Democrat? Take note, it's India's war if it was a war against evasion, black money, and corruption. But it would be the loss of an illiberal Democrat. Take note here, had it been a damagingly arbitrary act, it's not India's act, it's an act by an illiberal Democrat. It's now personal. That's the way Mr. Wolf responds to India's DeMo. And take note of the other adjective, arbitrary. Why arbitrary? For Mr. Wolf knew neither the empirical distribution of the currency notes nor had any past experience in writing on demonetization. That describes the chief economics commentator of the Financial Times. The weight of his ignorance showed up in this put down. Ms. Indra Nooyi is neither a normative philosopher nor a commentator. Dr. Sen is a normative philosopher. Philosophers are supposed to be engaged in asking questions, not imposing their views. But Dr. Sen is a normative philosopher. And of course, Mr. Wolf is a commentator. Ms. Nooyi is neither a philosopher nor a commentator. She is a doer. She's a CEO of PepsiCo and was awarded the Distinguished Alumna Award in 2015 by her alma mater, the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. Ms. Nooyi addressed the 50th convocation at IMC. She also has a great video on competence, confidence, courage, communication, consistency, integrity, and the moral compass, and of course, future leadership. Ms. Nooyi had attributed the decline in PepsiCo's India sales last year and early this year to DeMo. Let's read what she said. The demonetization drive in India had a significant impact on PepsiCo's business in the country in the last quarter of 2016, and there are still lingering effects of it. She goes on, across the board for pretty much all of industry and CPG, that's consumer packaged goods, we call it fast moving consumer goods in India, FMCG in particular, demonetization hit the individual retailer significantly. And take note, hit the individual retailer significantly. So that's where the story lies. But Ms. Nooyi did not utter a single word on why DeMo had become necessary. The retail economy in India is predominantly cash. PepsiCo had done nothing to move its relevant retailers to other modes of payment. PepsiCo too believed in going with the flow, like all of us did. If retail is all cash, then it's a principal hole through which GST, goods and services tax, would leak, not go to government, but would disappear. Ms. Nooyi did not have a single public comment on the utility of DeMo. That's very unfortunate. If retail is all cash, then it's a principal hole through which GST would leak. The plugging of the future leakage of GST revenues to the state and central governments had gained enormous importance. Someone had the competence, the courage, and the confidence, the communication, the consistency, and the moral compass, the 5 C's that Miss Indra Nooyi talks about very eloquently in her video. Someone had these to act on and to make it known that the person was practicing leadership. The practitioner and the practitioner's zeal didn't matter one bit. India has now shown that pragmatism and empiricism matter a whole lot. Thank you for your time. My email indiagrow@gmail.com and my Twitter @ramachgramach.